Good morning. It is that time again to think about the report to the people for calendar year 2021. So let's go ahead and run through this really quick. There's only a few slides here, but I'm going to spend a little time on the website and looking at some of the forms that we're using for the report to the people this year as well. So the first thing I'll point out is our resources we have for submission. All information needed for this report is on the Report to the People website. And then below here, this link here, there are other links that are on the website currently. So this is a duplication. If you go ahead and let me switch over here to the website really quick. And here we are. Right now you're looking at the County Reports to the People website, and this is on the Program and Staff Development website under reporting. And this is the links that you were looking at just a moment ago on the presentation. We have resources and timeline here on the left, information form. The resources and timeline form is one that Ken Jones sent out to all of you a few weeks back when we first launched the or opened the Qualtrics form and everything for counties to go ahead and start submitting the reports. I believe that would have been around July 15th. So let's take a look at that really quickly right now. So what you're looking at here is the resources available for the report to the people, 5 steps that I think it's 5 here, that people, 6 steps that people will go through in creating their report. And then the third page is the timeline with deadlines and expectations for this year. So the first thing when folks go to start on their report is they're going to want to complete the report to the people information form. And we actually used this last year as well. This is an example of the information form. The very first page, this was an issue last year, is you need to download this form to your computer first. Do not complete it in your browser, otherwise you will more than likely lose all of the information you entered. There are some browsers that will save the information, some will not. Let's not take that risk. Just download it, save it on your computer so you can complete it and have it in your records. So then everything in this form is in the order of the Qualtrics survey form that each county will be completing to do their final submission by October 15th. And so you can see it's a fillable form. All they need to do is just type in the information that they need. You'll notice back here on the website, there is a Word version and a PDF version. The Word version they have to download themselves. Now, this is a form that will never come to the Program and Staff Development Office. We'll never see it. So they can fill it out however they need to. Some things are required, nothing is required in this particular form in general. However, when they go to the final form to complete it, all of the records that they're going to be completing through Qualtrics are required. So if they don't collect all their information and have it ready to complete the Qualtrics form, they won't be able to actually complete the steps. So they have to, it has to work together. This is just for them to organize their thoughts, basically, and organize what is wanted on the report. So we go back to the instructions briefly, and after they have filled out this form completely, not a substitute for the Qualtrics survey. This is just simply a resource to help them organize their information. They will then go to the Qualtrics survey form and complete it. And once they have completed that form and submitted it, that information will go to Program Staff Development. So the next 3 steps that I have here, these are not necessarily in order, they're just kind of cover each different areas that you're going to be covering. This is about what information you're going to want in the report, where to find it, and how to put it together. Selecting the cover picture options for this year's report, I'll go ahead and click on that. Show each of you. These are the pictures that have been chosen through our office for the front page. All pictures taken by Matt Arden and stored in the directory through the marketing website, which is an excellent resource for anybody in extension. They're UK photos, UK owned photos, you won't have copyright issues, and they're beautiful pictures taken at our extension events they're really excellent to use and beautiful. You can see how absolutely amazing and high quality these images are. Personally, I really like that drone. So let's take a quick look back to the information. Let's see, no, to the instructions. So then after you go through and you're collecting your information, so you've chosen the picture, this next thing here, the cover picture option in the images. One of our bigger issues we continue to run into is the quality of the images provided by the counties. So that's why we choose the large cover image. It has to be a very high quality image. It's the first impression to our stakeholders from that particular, through that county report. And so we really want that front page image to just be excellent. And so that's why we actually provide them options that they can choose from. The other images also all have to have a horizontal layout. And while the quality has been getting better each year with the trainings that we've been doing on how to work with images, encouraging people to pull out their smartphones and take pictures at events when they're there, take advantage, let's do this. So we've definitely gotten quite a bit better. However, an issue we still run into is that the lack of understanding of the difference between a horizontal and a vertical image. And as you can see, I have an example here. On the left is the horizontal and on the right is the vertical. And it's exactly how they should sound. The vertical layout does not work in our report. If it is cropped to fit the size of our image, our layout for the program area, basically this image on the right, the vertical image, maybe you'd get just her glasses. Maybe right here, her hands and her glasses you could get in the picture, but it's not going to work. We need a horizontally laid out image to use for our program areas. For this entire report, they all have to be horizontally laid out images. So the next section here is on choosing a success story. I don't have issues actually people knowing if they can find their success stories or not. They tend to know where those are. And a clarification here on the 6 program areas that we use on this report, how much area. I'll go over here in a minute. One of the biggest questions we have is, can we use multiple success stories for the same program area? And I tell them no, because no, they shouldn't. They should not have success stories that they can fit into 165 words. Fitting one story into that is usually a challenge. And if you can fit multiple success stories into a small 165 word space, then I think that's a problematic for how the success story is written. So one story per program area, 950 characters, approximately 165 words. So then the next one is about the images. And I once again touch on the horizontal versus vertical, how collage images are not accepted. Haley pointed out, and this is an excellent point, that an exception to the collage rule, and this is not actually a collage image, although I understand how maybe a county could see it as one and could cause confusion, but it's a Zoom call image. The image is where it has, like 15 people all who are in a meeting all split up. And those are fun images to take. I actually use them on our website as well. So using something like that with a horizontal layout in your report works. But if you're actually taking multiple images and piecing them together to one image, that does not work. Don't do it. It is not allowed. It's actually been consistent, and we've been very open about that for years now. The last section here I'll go ahead and touch on is including program indicators for each program area. This is something we have included program indicators as long as I've been on, and then before I came around, there were priority indicators. These have always been included in this particular report. However, something has changed. I'm not sure what, but I know that starting last year, people did not know what program indicators were and where they could find them. So this became a very time-consuming problem. And I actually created the image that you're looking at here on this second page, pointing specifically to what is a major program, what is a participant count, and the program indicator on the website. And I sent a lot of these images out as follow-ups when I got these questions, or mostly when people submitted forms and they just either left the program indicators blank or they put major programs in instead, which is not the correct information. So I did a lot of providing links for how they can find their program indicators and a lot of providing this image to tell them what that meant last year. So if we take a moment too, I'll notice that the links for the program indicators are in multiple locations. So right now we're looking at the Report to the People website again, and right here at the top, access your program indicators here. And they're also in this linked in this presentation on the submission resources slide. So here, program indicators, make sure they choose the right fiscal year. And let's go with Ballard County, and here we are. And so then that's where the image comes in after that. This is a challenge for people seem to have of knowing exactly where to find these. And also we can find it through the impacts page, which if you're just going through the main UK directory, you go to extensions website, and at the top is an impacts link, and that will take you to here. I frequently tell people in the counties and when I'm talking to them to go to this website and just play around, spend some time looking at the information and pointing out what an amazing resource this website is and how it lays everything out. It's very easy to find things on this website. And I highly recommend people just play in it, and then they will really find things for specific ideas that they have and make that connection. So let's go back to the timeline here briefly. So here is that's the second page of the steps that they'll be taking. And after they've obviously collected all of this information, they will be submitting this through the Qualtrics survey form. Now we are on the timeline. Let's go ahead and go over this specifically. The expectation is that your offices, the AEDs, will hear from our office during this process at least twice. Absolutely. October 15th is when the counties are to have submitted their information through the Qualtrics survey form. By the 22nd, I will actually send, let me see, I will send all of your offices a list of what counties have submitted their information and what counties have not. Now, this is submission only. This does not verify the quality of the information. It doesn't provide any additional comments about what you can expect to see in a final report. It is simply these counties submitted through the Qualtrics form, these counties did not. November 15th is when I plan to send all of you an additional report, which will tell all of you how the information looked. So between October 22nd and November 15th, the plan is for all of these reports, everything that has been submitted to be reviewed to see if it is adequate. And at that point, I will follow up with all of you with a list of what is needed from the remaining counties and things that we ran into and things that I need additionally that I would love it if you would work with me on collecting that information. November 22nd is the deadline for the corrected information to be uploaded. Now, this November 22nd deadline does not have a link here. So once I send everything to you guys on the 15th, what will happen is that a week later, I would like for the counties to have uploaded their corrections, anything that we found that could be problematic. And if they could upload those corrections, then the plan is then to be able to have the reports completed and up on the website by February 2nd. This is an if all goes smoothly kind of scenario. So there's a few things in here that I would like to go over. So let's switch back over to the presentation. Okay, and what we're looking at right now is the submission resources. Still in the second slide, you'll notice also on here the program indicator link. Now, one thing that I wanted to go over with all of you is questions that we have before people tend to submit their reports, and then follow-up areas that we find to be problematic and how we have tried to solve those problems this year. So initial questions. These are the most common questions that we receive in the office prior to reports being submitted, and we're already getting quite a few of these this year. The first one is, can we submit multiple success stories for the same program area? And this I covered briefly earlier when I talked about the 165 word count in a program area for each section. If they have short stories, they may use more than one, but they have to fit into this space allotted per program area, no matter what. Where are the program indicators? I brought this up as well. The links are everywhere. I provide them again on this page of the report, how they can find the information, how they can go through the main UK directory through extension impacts and finding the program indicators section. 3, why are our county indicators all 0? This is actually a question that we have gotten every year that I've been here. And the answer to that question is been probably 95% of the time that numbers were not submitted for that county by the deadline for the fiscal year. And if they don't submit the numbers will not be in CURS, and therefore we won't have them if they go look it up in the system. And like I said, 95% of the time I reply to them and I kind of explain this to them, and then they go, oh, I thought I did that. And then they move on. And I don't hear, but we encourage them, even if they didn't get them into CURS, they should have that information to go ahead and enter it into this report. They still won't be in CURS for that fiscal year, but they will be on the report to the people. So that's what we recommend. Okay, more initial questions are, we do not submit program indicators for NEP. Why do we need them here? There are indicators that fit into each success story, even though NEP doesn't submit specific ones for their reporting requirements. But this helps shows impact in a consistent way throughout the report. I've never yet had an issue when I said, you know, there are going to be numbers that match up with your success story, even if they're not submitted specifically for NEP reporting. So see what you can do. And I've never had any issues after that. They tend to find ones, and that really is a great expression of impact to their stakeholders. The second one is, our county only has one extension agent currently. How do we provide stories in multiple program areas? All program areas are represented in the county's plan of work. And it is important also to know, and I mean, I'm saying this almost verbatim here, but this is very important, that success stories don't often only represent one program area. The example I use is a county that helped to bring a new processing facility into their county, and this A&R agent helped worked with the producers to research grants, apply for grants, tour other facilities with them so they could all learn the best way to really get this facility up, running, and the funding. And they've gotten the funding for it, and they're going to be putting it into their county community. So that not only fits A&R, but it also fits community economic development. So that's just an excellent story as it is. So just kind of being not creative, but, you know, a little bit outside of your program area, remembering that all of the program areas are represented in the plan of work. And so that's what this report is for, highlighting all of those. Can we list more than one Facebook page? No, only one account per social media type is allowed. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or a blog account. If they have some other kind of social media account, they should ask me about it, or ask Haley. Haley is my expert. I'll just go to Haley, actually. So ask Haley about it. But only one account. It is a very common thing for me to get multiple Facebook pages listed, and I always have to go back to them and say, I need you to choose one, and then they go, either they choose to not have any, or they provide me a main extension account or Facebook account to use. Okay, now we're switching over to the follow-up issues. So when we talked about the November 15th report that I'm going to provide you, it will be, these are the counties that they provided this, and this is what we need actually from them. And so the biggest issues that we've run into last year in particular was blank areas on the forms or completely blank forms. This is why we have switched to collecting the information through Qualtrics. Qualtrics is very user-friendly to require information on their forms. The PDF form that I used last time, it was a learning experience for me. I did not expect that it would not just be filled out, typed into. A lot of people went into edit PDF and typed their text behind the actual form boxes, things like that, or they exported it to a Word document and did not, that completely actually destroyed our final steps with that I'll go over here in a second with for creating the reports and was an enormous problem. So we've switched to Qualtrics so we can easily export the data and import the data as needed. But blank areas on the forms or completely blank forms was a huge issue. They just were not completing certain areas in the forms. And like it says here, only 44 counties actually submitted completed forms. So 76 counties, all right, 76, yep, my math is good. Counties submitted incomplete or blank forms. Only 2 counties actually were completely blank forms. The remaining of them just had sections of them that they left blank. And those had to be followed up with. And that was an enormously time-consuming problem, and why we switched to Qualtrics. Hopefully this will solve it. Images are poor quality or do not fit into the space properly. So I did cover this pretty detailed earlier, but just a reminder that horizontal and vertical images are our biggest issue with images now, next to people who provide collages. And the last one, and our absolutely biggest issue last year, was that people did not seem to know what program indicators were or how to find them. I did last year put the link in several different places and it seemed to not help, but I did a few more places this year. And so hopefully that will help with that information a little bit. But I also have this image here, which I have put in the information form that they're collecting in the timeline that they can review. It is in multiple locations and I have it ready to shoot to people if we run into this problem again. And here is my contact information. Let me make sure really quickly in my notes that I did cover everything. I believe I did. If you have any questions, please shoot me an email and let me know.